Hello, Savannah. Are we live? I think we've been live probably for some time now. Listen, thank you so much for joining in on the conversation tonight. We want to welcome you to another edition of Kandily Kesha. Tonight, we are going to talk all things elections. Today, early voting started, and we hope that everyone started out exercising their right to vote, charting your course. And hello, Mr. Jones. I haven't seen or heard from you in a while. Charting your course, plotting your path on your ballots, and making sure you are exercising your civic right. I want to introduce to you some special guests tonight. We have candidate for 5th District School Board, Ms. Teresa Watson, and we have Mr. Jerome Irwin of the A. Philip Randolph Institute. And so we want to give Ms. Watson an opportunity to talk to us about her campaign and what it is that she wants you all to do, get to know her a little bit better. And then Mr. Irwin is going to help us bring it all home, talk about the importance of voting and some of the work that he has done with voter registration and some of the other things that APRI does that you may be interested in. Listen, without further ado, I introduce to you Miss Teresa Watson, candidate for 5th District School Board.
Hello, thank you, Alderwoman, for inviting me to your platform. I greatly appreciate it. And good evening, Savannah, Georgia. It's so wonderful to be here. Of course, my name is Teresa Watson. I am a candidate in this upcoming runoff election, which will be held June 21st for 5th District School Board Representative. I have 20 plus years of experience of education. Also, I am president, currently positioned as president of Savannah Federation of Teachers, where I oversee teachers and classified employees within the school district, which gives me the link between employees and the school district. Um, Also, as a candidate, I want to make sure that all employees get the best of everything, um, because it is really important that not just our employees, but our children as well as the community in which I will be serving get the best of everything. Our current board person who's in that seat. Uh, 4 years ago, when I ran for the seat, I felt like there was a position that needs to change. Some changes needed to happen because the current person in that position did not give the information or give the insight in which was going on in the school district. Therefore, a lot of people was misinformed or didn't know what was going on. Only small things that she did articulate to individuals, but I felt like there has to be a stronger presence in the fifth district, and I am definitely believe that I am that person who will bring that to the fifth district.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned bringing the information to the people. And I think it's so very important. When I ran for Alderwoman at Large for Post 1, my planks were to advocate for citizens, to inspire citizens, as well as to educate our citizens, in
Yes,
addition to making myself accessible. That education piece didn't mean that individuals were incapable of understanding or knowing, but it simply meant bridging the divide between City Hall and what happens in our everyday communities. So much of what we have been doing through platforms like this, myself, Alderwoman Alicia Miller Blakely, we have made information available to citizens like never before. There
yeah,
has never been a time in local government here in our community where people actually know what's going on. We have dialed the information back and presented it in a way in which everyday citizens can understand it. And what we learned in short order after taking office was that oftentimes information is relayed to citizens in a way that is deliberately ambiguous and deliberately confusing,
yeah,
in that they only give half of the information
right.
or none of the
Mhm,
information at all. So I think that's really key, that
mhm.
you have the intent to do that. But above all, we recognize that most people enter public office from a spirit of altruism. They seek to do good, they seek to do the right thing. Even many of the individuals who are serving on council with myself, but I think in short order, somehow along the way, people lose sight of that that desire to do the right thing. They lose sight of it in the face of under the table deals, over the table
Yeah,
deals, rides in private jets, dinners, fancy dinners, Christmas party invitations, or those special perks one may get by way of a leased Mercedes, BMW, or Range Rover, or something related to an addition to their home or some side job for themselves or a family member. And that's what we find that we are consistently plagued by. Ms. Watson, what is it that you can tell the citizens of Savannah, Chatham County that you will offer and bring to the table to say, you know what, I'm here, tried and true. I'm going to do what I set out and said that I was going to do. And I don't intend to be that type of leader within the 5th District. How can we
well,
trust you?
to start, my current position as president of Savannah Federation of Teachers is not a job where I was did an application. I was voted in. I am a dues paying um, a member of Savannah Federation of Teachers currently, and I was voted in by my peers. When I speak of peers, that means teachers and all classified employees who saw that my leadership or my ability or my knowledge of everything that I have the capabilities of doing, they saw that they trusted me to fulfill that position. So with that expertise of being able to understand and to serve them, I believe that the citizens of the fifth district can see that same tenacity or that drive that I can bring to them. I have played both parts of being on both parts, working with them professionally and also working outside of the community, advocating with parents about how to present certain situations when they just didn't know how to speak up for their children. My passion is special ed. I currently hold a bachelor's in early childhood education, and I'm 2 months away from completing my master's in special ed. And working in that capacity, I have had several numerous conversations with parents who just didn't know how to advocate for themselves, who didn't know that they could have done certain things, not that it probably was not presented to them, but the fear of saying, I just don't know how. So I have worked on both sides of the playing field, which gives me the knowledge in which I can combine all of that together to share with the community of the fifth district. I'm very familiar with the schools there. I myself worked at Haven Elementary School. I'm familiar. I worked there for over 15 years in Haven. I'm familiar with the community there. I still to date, I still know some parents who still live in that community that know me where I have worked with their children. So not just Haven, but even at Beach High School. My niece right now is currently a student in the health program there. So I'm familiar with several people, have friends in that community. So I understand. So and these people tell me all the time, Teresa, you have the passion, you have the love, and I truly do. Not just for a seat, but I want to be able to help. And that's the bottom line for me. It's not that of prestige or saying that I am this, but I want to be able to help, extend a helping hand, deliver what they need, and share with them how to obtain it in the correct way.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Well, we want you to know that we're grateful to be able to extend our platform to you.
Thank you.
We know that early voting started today.
Yes.
Election day is on Tuesday of next week. But early voting will happens from today
Seventeenth.
through the 17th, and then
Yes.
Tuesday the 21st is
Yes.
the final day to cast your votes. And so,
Yes.
have you surveyed the numbers in the various precincts to see where you did the best, and to
I
say
did.
to my audience tonight, who do you need
I
to come out again and um,
well, yes, I did. I surveyed those numbers, and I did quite well in several areas, even in Liberty City, where my opponent lives. I beat him in Liberty City, so that speaks volumes for me. But I want to say this to Savannah. It is said that people don't come out to run off elections. And I just don't want to believe that. I believe that the people in the fifth district care about having the correct person in that seat. And the numbers showed in this last election that I was the highest ranking person who had the highest numbers, but I just needed a little bit more. So I'm asking and asking the fifth district, you want the right person in that seat. You want somebody who will serve, and the person who was caring, and the person who will make a difference. And I am that person. So I'm asking you to come back. If you haven't already gone today, for those who are waiting to June 21st, I'm asking you to go out and vote and select Teresa Watson as your next fifth district school board representative. I am the one who will carry out everything that I'm saying. I'm true to who I am, and I don't put on any airs of any kind. I am true to who I am.
well, we appreciate you for stopping by tonight and wish you well. And I want to just say that my platform has always been open and extended to all candidates, as I've previously announced. So I know you made reference to an opponent in the race, and we want to make sure that everyone knows that we intend to be fair and balanced. But we want to thank you, Ms. Watson, for stopping by
Thank
and
you.
saying hello to us. And
Thank you.
it's always, you just make me smile every time I see you or talk to you, because I look at you and I say you have praying eyes. Every time I look at you, it's like you just praying for me. So it's always a blessing, always a blessing. Well, thank you so much. You can definitely stay around and hang out and talk with Mr. Irwin and I, because a little bit of
Okay.
our conversation is going to be, Mr. Irwin, you all do a lot of groundwork. You have a strong ground game when it comes to registering voters for our elections. You all do a great job at, you don't vet candidates, but you have a way in which you sort of identify those who may be good or ready for public office, and then you actually have worked to hold those in office accountable. But what is it, and how difficult is your job, Mr. Irwin, with regard to voter registration when you all go out year after year, or election season after election season, I should say, and you beat the pavement, you survey individuals in parks and neighborhoods, you host events, getting people registered and helping them understand the importance of voting, only to run into situations where politicians behave badly or do not do what you all expected them to do in office, and just lose sight of self. And so then we find during election season, we have to beg and plead for people to come back out to vote or to go vote. And I personally think that it's because people lose faith in politicians, or they feel like the people they sent into office really didn't help them or make a difference. And you see where we try to have integrity when it comes to party affiliations. And it's one of the reasons why I'm not particularly interested in, wearing a badge of any party, um, because it's also the best word I can say is it's just nasty politics. You have people who claim to be Democrats or people who claim to be Republicans, but you see them commingling in ways that goes outside of the bounds of working across the aisle. They're taking money from each other, patting each other's pockets, pushing each other's policies, and then there you go again in the park asking people to register to vote. How difficult are things, or do you see that it's just a part of the process?
Well, one of the things that we do, and good evening to you, Ms. Carter and Teresa. Safe journey for you too, on the way coming back. But yes, it gets to be somewhat of a trial every once in a while. But the thing is, someone has to do it. We can't sit back and don't do anything because we got some dirty politicians. What we have to do is hold politicians accountable for the things that they're doing when they come out and while they are politicking, they make promises, and we need to hold them to their promise. We need to make sure that they're doing what they say they're going to do, and if they don't, at the end of their term, vote them out of the way, get them out of the way, and let somebody else do the job until we find somebody that's going to do the job the way it should be done.
Well, that's been the consistent theme of what I have seen with politics in our community. And for me, Mr. Irwin, the problem I have with that is that it's long suffering, right?
Right.
Most of our local offices, say county commission and city council, are 4-year terms. And so if a person comes into office and lose their way 6 months into their first year, you have 3.5 years to deal with not being served, failed poor policies, on the watch of individuals who aren't concerned about raising people's property taxes. Um, we have to live on the watch of rises in homelessness and poverty and crime. Like, how much should citizens wait until a next season to vote somebody out? I want people to mobilize and to hold individuals accountable now. If we were responsible for putting people into office, we also have a right to hold them to the carpet and make them accountable today and not wait until the end of the election season, which is why I decided to run for mayor. I decided to run for mayor early. It's really unusual to announce as early as I am, but I felt as if I was at such a deficit. Our community is suffering so much. This was a strategy for me. The strategy for me, Mr. Irwin, was to get out so early that I would make this mayor make me a liar. I don't want more bodies to fall on the streets of Savannah just so that I can prove a point that we have rising crime on the watch of this administration, so you should pick me. No, I don't want somebody else to lose their child. I don't want to be in a higher post that bad. I don't want another community to be wiped out to developers who come in and raise the property value to the extent that they no longer can live in their communities. I do not want another sacred property like the Weeping Time to be desecrated on the watch of a failed administration. And so my coming out early is purposeful and it's intentional. It's to say that I'm unselfish enough to put myself out early enough to have this big target on my back, right? Because now the big guns are going to start blazing, to say that we want to do it right and we want to do it right now. So that was my strategy. And so that's also a part of my DARE campaign.
Well,
I dare this administration to do right by the police department. I dare this administration to start reducing homelessness and poverty and crime. I dare this administration to build affordable, transitional, and housing that people can actually live in as rapidly as developers are changing the communities from Bay Street to Midtown.
well, I tell you one thing. There is a way to do it. There's a recall. We can always do a recall election when things get bad enough. We can recall the vote and get them out of there. But the thing is, the the, the strength and who has the courage to make that call? That's where we come in as A. Philip Randolph. Because
Tell us about who A. Philip Randolph is and what is it that you do.
A. Philip Randolph is a catalyst to a better economic future for the Savannah residents. A. Philip Randolph is dedicated to developing programs that will extend democracy to those who have been traditionally disenfranchised and discouraged from participating in the political system, strengthening political alliances needed to assure a democratic social change, and projecting social and economic programs that will improve the lives of all Americans, not one color, or not black, not white, but all Americans. And we do that by collaboration. We do equal and fair treatment, inclusiveness, and community building. We get out and we talk, we try to reason with people. Every once in a while, it's not you find a few that you can't reason with, but when you find that you can't reason with, then we have to make other terms with them. And I think you are one of the few people that know that there are those people that you can't talk to at times. Uh, we get out, we go from neighborhood to neighborhood. We canvass neighborhoods. We have target areas we go into. That when we go out to do voter registration, we target these people so that we know who we're dealing with and that they're not registered to vote. One of the biggest issues we got right now with voters getting people registered to vote is the fact that they are, they have felony records. Some of them have felony records, and they have
Mm,
not been told that once they pay their fines and do their time, that they can go back to the poll and vote again. And
mm.
that's a big issue. And we've been working on that time after time, year after year, trying to get them to understand that.
Now tell us how, I want you to also tell us, Teresa, and you can put in the chat there how people can um, find out more about you, if you have a website or information, or if someone wanted to reach out to you via email or phone, you can put that in the chat. But tell us really quick, how can we find out more information?
Sure. It's my website is Teresa Watson Fifth. That's the number 5 district um .com. That's my website. My email address is Teresa Watson Fifth, number 5 district at gmail.com.
Okay. And you can put that in our thread there so that people will be able to access you. And I know this is at the end of the campaign. I've said before that my cousin Al Williams often says it takes coal to run a train, but it takes coal to run a campaign. So we know that at the end, and I'm not sure where you are financially, but I'm sure that you would like to receive donations as well. And you can put that information. Well, I'm sure that information is on your website.
Yes, it is.
And so I want everyone to know that Mr. Irwin has been working to register folks in our community since I met you. I met you on the campaign trail in 2019, but you've been at this work far longer than that. Are there any programs, events, or activities coming up that you want to share with us? And then you can also tell us how people can find out more about APRI.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. We have one important program coming up next week. We have our senior citizens have been paying taxes so long, and some of them have lived in their houses for 60, 70 years, and they're still paying taxes on their homes. And there are programs out there that will reduce the tax payments in some instances, alleviate the tax. And we are going to have a conference next Wednesday, uh, the 20th, and we'll bring in the tax commissioner and her people, and they will
Oh,
sit down with the senior citizens and share with them what it is they can do to alleviate some of these taxes. Then on June 1st, we have a big initiative. We got something big coming. We want to have a rally for the victims of violent crimes, and we're going to do that on the first one will be on Connors Temple parking lot right there on Gwinnett and MLK, and we're going to ask a lot of the brothers to come out and help us protect these people who have been victims, and then we will march through the neighborhood. And when we march through the neighborhood, we will march in solidarity with each other, and we will uplift those people who have been victims and show them that they can be saved if we just stand together.
Well,
We
listen,
will
I'll
also
tell
be
you
on the
what.
streets. We'll be on the streets all this week, canvassing and doing sign waving for the early voting. We encourage everybody to go back to the polls. It has been a tradition for people not to go back to the polls. We want to break the traditions this year and get people back to the polls that voted, and then get more that hadn't voted back to the polls. It is a shame that we have so many people registered to vote in the city or in the Chatham County. I ain't gonna say the city, but in Chatham County, and we have so little people voting. We only have like maybe 20 to 25% of the people voting. When we have about 96% of the people that's registered, able to vote, registered. So we need to get the people out to vote. We have to find some way to get them out to vote.
Well, as I stated, we're trying to do our part and just be a part of service that will be motivation for people. So you all wouldn't have to work so hard if we just did what we were supposed to do when in office. And we just appreciate you for not telling
Well,
me
we
what
don't
I
mind
want to
working
hear.
hard. So we don't mind the hard work. And anybody wanting to find out any information about us, they can find us at APRISAV.org. That's our website. And they can find us on Facebook, Savannah APRI, on Facebook at gmail.com. I'm sorry, at gmail.com. And we have an office at the Con Ed building. That's 714 MLK Boulevard. You cut yourself off? But we look forward to working with everybody until they get this straight. We look forward to working with everybody. A. Philip Randolph is here for the community, and we will build a strong reputation in this community. We have opportunity to fill gaps on issues that affect the disadvantaged and the disenfranchised individual. So we look to work with anybody who is willing to get up and work. We will work with you. With that, we will say good evening to you. And have a blessed night.
Like this. I like that.